All right, everybody, good morning. We just got dropped off at Route 60, just outside of Lexington, Virginia, and we're heading up the mountain. We're near Buena Vista, Virginia, and entering into the George Washington and Jefferson National Forests. Okay. Somebody has left some trail magic for a couple of specific guys, so that's cool. So packs are loaded and headed into the wilderness, literally. The wilderness. I don't think it's really that wilderness-like, but it's you know, it's national forest kind of stuff, so lots of people cutting through here every day, I'm sure. So the goal today is to make it to the second shelter, which I believe is at 14 miles. And so we've got a pretty steep incline to begin with, where we're going to go from right now, I think we're at about 2,600 feet, and we're climbing up to 4,000 feet in the course of about 3 miles. So it's been a little while, honestly, since we've had a mountain that is over 4,000 feet. So it should be a nice steady climb for the next 3 miles. Hopefully the folks who built this trail understand the importance of the switchbacks, and we're not going straight up the mountain, so I doubt that'll be the case, but it should be a good way to get the heart pumping this morning. So we'll keep you posted as we make our progress up the mountain, and I know that we'll have a couple of really nice viewpoints today, and we'll share those too. So I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see y'all down the trail. That's where we came from, and up there's where we're going. I see what I believe is the top. Sometimes it'll fool you. They call them false summits. You get all excited because you say, hey, if I can just make it to there, I'll be good. And then you get there, and revealed to you is another ridge you got to get up for before you reach the real top. But we are making progress. I'd say of the 3 miles I needed to make, I'm sure I've made a little over 1. But you can see the elevation that I've already picked up. So it's been pretty steep thus far, but they are deploying lots of switchbacks, so it's not been insurmountable, that's for sure. So it's good, but beautiful views and beautiful blue skies here in Virginia yet again. Been truly blessed with excellent weather. I'd say almost for the majority of the hike. I really hadn't had a big rain out or anything like that so much. If I was ever going to turn back, it would have been on day 1. I don't know how many of you guys watched the day 1, day 2 video, but we really struggled just to get me up to Max Patch in North Carolina. And once I climbed the top of Max Patch and started coming down, I was post-holing. The snow was knee deep, and I have to admit, I had to ask myself, was this meant for me to do? And I was fortunate enough to get off that mountain and low enough that I could actually find a flat spot on the ground to pitch a tent out of the snow, and slept in 20-something degree weather that night. But yeah, that was probably one of the toughest challenges that I had and still have had since beginning. Oh, I got to remind myself, don't do videos and try to climb at the same time. Whew. Yep, so it's a beautiful day here in, I'm almost about ready to call it Northern Virginia, as we're only a couple weeks out really from making it to West Virginia. And then on into Maryland. We'll do West Virginia in one day probably. Maryland's about 2 days. And just like that, we'll be in Pennsylvania. So it's nice to see the target and the target's within reach, you know, and you start making that good progress. More uphill. All right, we'll catch up with you down the path. Still making progress up this mountain, almost there. You can see how much elevation we've gained, gauging against the other mountains around us. And like I say, right when you think you're at the top, yep, there's a little bit more work to do. It's all good. We're making good progress. See you at the top. All right, we have a view. It's nice. I believe this is the area that likely we hiked yesterday, you know, and I might be completely wrong about that. You know, I don't have anything to back that up, but to me it seems like maybe up in this area is probably where we began our hike. And then, you know, as you know, we went down in that round punch bowl kind of area, and you know, it's kind of the way this is shaped. If you look at it from above, it's just, you know, kind of a lower kind of punch bowl kind of shape. And we traversed through some lower ground before coming up, and we probably came up somewhere over in that area near Buena Vista and Lexington. So and then we walked, you know, the mountain and the ridge to get to where we are. So I imagine that's kind of where generally we might have been yesterday, but I can't say for sure. But a beautiful view, and so far a real pretty day. Still got a little bit more climbing to do before we get to the ridge. Let's get after it. All right, folks, I'm still breathing hard. We have achieved the largest climb for this day. We hit a ridge top, and this ridge top is actually going to carry us now for, let me do the quick math, I think about 22 miles of ridge top. So we're gonna, no, 23 miles. We're gonna do about 12 of that before dark today, and then that's going to leave us about 11 to do for tomorrow. And actually the 11 for tomorrow is about 6 of the ridge top and then 5 miles downhill. So tomorrow's a real easy day, but it's just the way, again, it's just the way the terrain and things worked out. So today was going to be the harder day. It's not all going to be flat like this. There are some you know, kind of undulates, and you got some spots where you got to drop down maybe 200 or 300 feet, and then of course you got to climb back up 200 or 300 feet, but nothing really extreme at all. So I've really been looking forward to finally getting to the top of this ridge and cruising. So life is good. Hope everybody's having a great day, and we'll catch up with you further down the path. All right, now we're headed downhill into one of those kind of a gully, if you will, and then kind of come back, but it's downhill. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk a little bit about my hiking partner, Pacer. Again, his name is Pacer. He calls himself Pacer because he's walking with a pacemaker. He's 72 years old, and he prefer not to do the bigger miles. 14 miles that we're doing today is a stretch for him, but he can do it. He just has to take his time. And but he won't stop. I tell you, he will not stop. He is a adventurous for sure. He lives up in the Adirondacks. He has a cabin in Alaska. He's done construction work. He's actually owned a lot of different businesses, convenience stores and things of that nature throughout his life. But I guess he's primarily construction kind of contractor that has done construction most of his career. He did commercial construction in Antarctica, and so living in cold weather and out in the elements is kind of what he does. So he's quite a character to talk to and spend some time with. So I've enjoyed spending some time with him, but I kind of alluded to the fact that he'll be getting off trail. Well, officially off hiking trail here pretty soon. Maybe as early as Sunday, once we get into Waynesboro, but he might stay a couple more days after that. I'm not really sure. His plan is that he's going to what they call aqua blaze the Shenandoahs. So instead of hiking through the Shenandoahs, you can rent a canoe, get on the Shenandoah River, and take it pretty much to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. So, depending on the route he takes, he may bypass 180 miles of hiking trail, and he'll get to what is, kind of mentally considered the halfway point of the Appalachian Trail. His intent from the beginning was to do the first half of the Appalachian Trail on, more of the traditional way. And then the second half of the trail, what he's going to end up doing is he's a cyclist, bike rider, and long-range bicycle rider. So he is going to have his bicycle shipped to him in Harper's Ferry from New York. And when it gets to Harper's Ferry, he'll be in Harper's Ferry, and he intends to bicycle the northern half of the Appalachian Trail. He'll go over to Washington, D.C. and, do some sightseeing and things of that nature. But he eventually lands at Baxter State Park, and he's going to meet his girlfriend there, and they're going to hike up and summit Mount Katahdin together. And that's kind of how he plans to attack this whole thing. So he did have to, early on, he had to skip the Smokies because of bad weather. So this fall, he plans to go back and hike those, 76 miles of the Smokies later this fall. So, to say he's active 72-year-old would be putting it lightly. He's probably slowed down a good bit, and he has to manage things, of course, with his heart condition. But it's not stopping him, that's for sure. It's rather inspiring, to be honest with you. He's really doing some pretty phenomenal stuff and doing everything he can to enjoy his life. So, that's Pacer. And I won't be with him more than a week, I wouldn't say, but I'm going to enjoy the camaraderie for the next few days, and then we will move on our separate paths. But it's all good. Anyway, see y'all further down the path. Another view where we yet need to climb to get up and out of that gully, as I called it. I don't know if gully is probably a proper word, but we're headed up to the top of that ridge, and then we'll be hopefully walking on flat ground again. But we'll catch up as we see something cool. All right, made it to the top of a bald, offering a lot of views. Probably go a little bit further up, might even get a 360 view, but there's some other people up there, so I don't want to interrupt them either. So pretty nice view right through there. Kind of cloudy and I don't know, kind of overcast, but not really. There's not that many clouds, but it's just kind of a grayness, I would say, over the valley today. Yeah, let's get on up to the top and see what these fellers are seeing. I think that's where we'll go ahead for now. That's called Coal Mountain Bald, and I think that's probably where our better view will be from, so we're going to head over that way. But yeah, clear with mountains all around. Okay, we made it to the top of this Coal Mountain Bald. Zoom in a little bit on some of these mountains. Quite a view from Coal Mountain Bald. Those are the couple of the little section hikers. I don't know how far they're going today, but I passed, and I'm happy to see that Pacer's catching up with me and doing well. So yeah, all right, so we are making good progress, and everything's going clickety-clack down the railroad track. I'm just kind of laughing a little bit. Those guys, young guys, probably in their 30s, I'd say. They're just kind of hanging out and doing a little section hike or whatever. And me, the old guy, just came slowly up the hill, and they told me where they were going. I said, I'm heading north too. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. They said, okay, yeah, we'll probably pass you somewhere down the path. I said, yeah, okay. I don't think they're going to be passing me. They look like they're huffing and puffing. So, just cause the dude looks old, you can't assume that he's slow. So, yeah, we're making good progress today. I can certainly say at this point, most of the tough stuff's behind us. And, I think the rest of the day's hiking is going to be a rather pleasant experience, I would say. So, yep. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. And it's a pretty day in Virginia. Happy to be here. And look forward to marching forth and getting to that shelter for this evening. So we will catch up with you down the path. All right, folks, just checking back. I've reached the ridge top again. It's just every so often you kind of go off the ridge and kind of go down a side hill, and into a little, I wouldn't say a valley, but a little ravine or something, and then find yourself hiking back up a hill, and then you repeat the process. So been doing that for a while. So it's nice to have some easy walking now. We're about 3 miles from our destination, which is the shelter, and it's only 1:30, so I should be there by about 3. So it's kind of a early finish to the day, but it's still a pretty respectable day. I think 14 miles, and I felt really good today. It might be all the sugar I've eaten, to be honest with you. I started out, I went over to Dunkin' Donuts, which is right beside the hotel this morning, and it's 5:30 and I couldn't sleep, so I went over there and got a large black coffee, the darkest roast they had, and ate some pastries, and then for lunch, more for convenience than anything else, because I had some other food, but I had gone to Dollar General back when I was in Glasgow. Dollar General had those like fried pies that are just full of, whatever they are, pie filling. I got 2 blackberry ones. They're $1 a piece, and I doubt there's anything resembling a blackberry in that thing. Probably just loaded with sugar, but between all that, I was doing the math. I think I had about 1,500 calories of, sugary, pastry, whatever. And that probably acted like some kind of turbo booster, because I've been tearing it up today, and felt like I could probably push on and get a lot more miles this afternoon. But we had a deal and a plan where we're going to do 14 today and we'll have 11 tomorrow. It's a good way to break it up, and if we did push on, then the day tomorrow would be terribly short. So anyway, it's all good. It's working out. It's going to be nice to kind of slow down early and meet with a few people. There's 3 folks ahead of us. That's ahead of me right now. Pacer's behind me. I don't know how far. I know he'll contact me if he has any concerns or whatever, but we agreed it would meet at the shelter. But anyway, there's 3 people ahead of us that we've been hiking around for the last day or 2 or more. In fact, they were at that same hostel in Glasgow that we were at, and an older couple. Their name is Bob and Maureen, and then you have a Canadian with them, and he's an ex hockey player. His name is Doug, but he calls himself Slapshot, I think, which is, I guess, a hockey term. I don't know anything about hockey, but anyway, I'm doing my best to kind of catch them. I know they stayed in the woods last night, and they were probably started the day probably 3 miles ahead of us, and I just was doing my best to catch up with them before we got to the hostel. It's not I don't have to, it's just more or less a personal target that I was setting for myself to do, just to, make it a little more interesting for the day. So as I get closer to the hostel, to the shelter, I'm starting to realize the chances are I'm not going to catch them. So they keep moving, I keep moving, and I'm not closing the gap that much probably. So anyway, it doesn't matter. My guess is we'll all get to the hostel. It's a 6-person, I said hostel again, 6-person shelter, and we had 5 people at least. I don't know who else might be there, of course, right? But chances are we'll all pitch tents anyway. So I probably wasn't going to stay in the shelter anyhow. So I'd prefer to stay in a tent unless there's absolutely no one else in the shelter, and or if it's like coming down a pouring rain. And obviously the weather today is beautiful, so don't see that being a problem. So putting up a tent's the plan anyway. So looking forward to seeing everybody back together this evening around the shelter area anyway. So all right, I guess that's it. We will catch up and touch base again as we get closer to our destination. Have a great day. Pretty water source. Besides these boulders. Onward we go. Nice little water source. I'm only about half a mile from the shelter, and I've read the reviews from previous hikers. No mice to report in the shelter. Again, probably doesn't matter to me because I'm likely putting up the tent anyway. But they also talked about the water source up there at the shelter, and it's according to them, a gusher. It's a pipe spring, which I like pipe springs. And this particular pipe spring is evidently a gusher. So that's good. So water's not an issue. So I'll be cooking something tonight. So we get in that food bag I've been toting around for weeks. It seems like it's going to be nice to make it a little bit lighter today. So yeah, we should be up here in about half a mile. We'll see we'll survey it all and get the lay of the land as soon as we get there. Okay. All right, folks. We have made it to the Sealy Woodworth Memorial Shelter. Okay, completed our quest for the day. 14 miles, exactly 14 miles. We started at mile 209.4. We're now at 223.4. And it's about 2/10 of a mile up to the Appalachian Trail. It just got a little blue blaze trail that led off and put us here. There's some camping spaces around it. It looks like a pretty good one right there. And frankly, I was a little surprised. Well, first of all, let's look at the shelter itself as it might be. Okay, kind of a standard thing. It might be our home for the evening. We'll see about that. It looks like it's in okay condition. It's got some miles on it, no doubt about it. We got a broom where we can sweep a little bit and clean up if we wanted to stay in here. My only thing that I would want to do if I was going to stay in, the only reason I would stay in here is if there's really no other folks staying in here, honestly. And I anticipated that there's 3 other people I know that was in front of us, and I expected that they would be here today for sure and waiting on me. But perhaps they were feeling good, as I am too. You know, the trek today wasn't extremely difficult, and they had already started. They had maybe a 3-mile head start on us that they hiked yesterday. So for them, it's probably about a 10 or 11 mile day, and they may have chosen to go ahead and move on. There's another pretty nice camping site that's about 2.5 miles from here, further north. So, you know, given it's pretty weather, they may have said, hey, we're going to camp out anyway. Let's just go ahead and push on. So that might be what happened, but, you know, Pacer and I agreed to stop here, so it might just be Pacer and I. And maybe we share the shelter, or maybe we both put up tents. Maybe he puts up a tent, leaving this thing completely vacant. If that be the case, I might just stay in here by myself, because again, all reviews are that there's no mice in this shelter at all. The water is right down that way. I know that they take a lot of care in their privies here in Virginia, and the privy, I don't know, probably can't see from here, but we might go down and check that out. That's the trail to the privy. It's right down in that area. You might see a little bit of a structure down there. So I don't love privies too much, but if they're nice and clean, it's an option I'll keep open. But feeling great today, guys. 14 miles. I'm gonna sit down and because I really haven't had really good quality food today, other than a lot of sweets. I'm gonna sit down and have a late lunch. It's currently 3 o'clock. And it will not preclude me from having a dinner at probably about 7 o'clock. So I'll see if we can throw together some decent snacks, maybe some tuna fish. We'll see how creative I get, and I'll share that with you. And we'll kind of start to settle in here a little bit. So we'll get back to you in a bit. From the Sealy Woodworth Shelter. Okay, everyone, it's time to see what creativity I've got going on here. This is a large, this is 6.4 ounces of wild caught albacore white tuna. It's important to know that's wild caught. That means that they had a chance to get away. So we've got tuna. I've already taken the liberty to spread some tuna on a tortilla. This is not an unusual, this is a corn tortilla. Not an unusual meal for a hiker. What you do beyond here is really up to you. You can put cheese on it. You could put some type of condiment on it. I am choosing to put some barbecue sauce on it that I acquisitioned as an extra from Shane's Barbecue back home. Just to spice it up a little bit, I'm going to put some Heinz Sweet Relish on this. See how that looks. Now you got to admit, that's starting to look a pretty good appealing. Oh yeah. So there we go. I will repeat that process. Maybe I've got enough tuna, probably one more time, maybe two. And I've got mustards, I got hot sauces, a lot of different things that can change up the flavor a little bit. But that's it, sort of a tuna street taco in the woods. All right, have a good one.